my first fight, like I said, it was 15 seconds. It was a crazy 15 seconds. So that was the best feeling I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
Up to that point, up to that point, it beat any football feeling. It beat any sports that I'd played before feeling. It beat everything. That was the highest, it was like an adrenaline high that I can't explain to this day. I felt so alive, It gave me meaning. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to be nervous about and to make life, it threw a curveball in life. Honestly, up until my pro career, that was the hardest I'd been hit in a fight. And so I remember thinking in the 15 seconds, I remember my mind saying, what am I doing here? I remember I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This is so stupid. I was confirming, this is dumb.
Welcome to the Haitian Kings Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today we got a professional mixed martial artist. We got Hunter Smith in the house with us, man. Hey, how you doing, dog?
How y'all doing, man? I'm doing good.
Man, look, it's a privilege having you here across from us. Last time we had a chance to speak with a fighter, we was talking with Josh Quayhagen.
Right.
And that was a pleasure. And I feel like as good as that interview was with Josh with you, it's going to be probably just as good.
Hey, man, I feel like I'm a little more... I listen to a little bit more podcasts than he does. He's a little old school, man. So,
but Josh is the dude, man. Josh is cool as hell, dog. But let's start from the beginning, though. How did you get started into that lifestyle?
Man, how did I get started into fighting, man? Basically, I just wasn't happy where I was in my life at the time. In high school, I grew up, playing sports. My dad was a pretty good athlete. So I grew up, watching football, basketball, baseball, big fan of it. So I grew up playing, I grew up competing. In high school, I had a couple of injuries or whatever that kind of hindered me as far as going further and playing football at a higher level, collegiately. But, so yeah, man, I kind of just settled into my life outside of high school, was working a regular, 9 to 5, as an electrician. I went to school for it. And man, for 4 years, it seemed like, from 18 to 22 years old, I seemed like I just was lost, man. I feel like that whole point of my life, man, when I look back at it, it's so confusing because I know there's, obviously I remember life, but it just never was eventful. There was never something to look forward to. It was always stale and I just wasn't happy with it. I felt like I was not doing what I was put on this earth to do.
You felt like you existed. You weren't living.
Right. I felt like I was in a routine every day, and I was kind of just wishing life away. I was living from event to event, oh man, this weekend we're doing something. In a couple weekends I'm doing something. But until then, I'm just stuck in this routine. And it's no disrespect to anybody who makes a living like that, pays bills for their family. It just, for me, it wasn't working. And, I shot up to 240 pounds after high school. I was out of shape, man.
Dude, you don't look like it, man.
240 pounds,
dude,
man.
You do not look like it. How much you weigh right now?
Right now, I'm about 180. So I was a good 60 pounds heavier, man. At the end of the day, when I make weight, it's right at 80, 85 pounds as far as, weight loss total, when I'm standing on the scale. So, yeah, it was 240 pounds. Like you said, man, just kind of gliding through life, not really doing anything eventful, not really doing anything meaningful. And I always knew in high school and everything that, my grandmother always told me, rest in peace. She said that I was special and I was put on this earth to do something. And that was always in the back of my head. She passed away in 2020, right when COVID started. So I never got the chance to really show her, but I knew even after she passed, I knew there was a bigger purpose to this. I knew that my life meant more. There was more to it. So I don't know, man. I just love competing, and I went and saw Josh Quayhagen at Performance Evolution, and I got my ass whipped the first couple of days, and I don't know. I guess if you get your ass whipped and you stay, that means you love it. So I wanted to get better, man. I wanted to stop getting my ass whipped, basically. And
so basically, how old were you when you finally got into it? You saw Josh Quayhagen and you wanted to get into it.
So in high school, when I was playing football, I took football very seriously. I would go to Josh, and I would go just kind of in the off season to stay in shape, and getting punched in the face was fun even in high school. I didn't know I wanted to do it for a living, but I was going, to the gym pretty regularly. So 2016, it's about 16, 17 years old is when I started in the gym. I started full-time training when I was 22. In 2021, I believe it was.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So 2016 and 17, was you just like doing the basics, like just learning how to do the low motard, or you was just practicing just like workout, or you was just doing...
I was doing bang Muay Thai. I was doing, the base. I wasn't doing no 2-a-days. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't living there, but I would definitely go in the afternoons, hit 5:30, bang Muay Thai, and then go home. I was doing the striking, the basic striking. I was doing the basic amount of grappling, just kind of doing stuff. It was kind of just to stay active. It was never like, when I first stepped in the gym, it was never for a career. Okay. It was just like, man, I like getting punched in my face. I like boxing with my friends out in the backyard. Why don't we get better at it so we can beat them up a little worse? So that's all it started out as. You know what I mean? It was really nothing more serious than that.
But let's just say whenever you got like within your first professional fight, like how did it feel? Like, that's my first time doing this. This is serious. The guy across from me trying to kill me. How did that feel from somebody that's doing it from the first time?
So my first fight was weird. I didn't know how to process it. My first fight, I started training heavily in March of 2020. And I had my first fight September of 2020. So the same year, I was nervous. I was like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? I'm getting in my underwear, in front of my family, and I'm throwing punches at another dude while he throws punches at me. Like, this is the craziest thing to me. But I felt so alive, It gave me meaning. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to be nervous about and to make life, it threw a curveball in life, and I think that's really ultimately what made me fall in love with it.
So whenever you broke the news to your friend and family and say, hey man, I'm doing this mixed martial art thing and I'm taking it seriously, I got a fight coming up, how did they take it?
I don't think so.
Your
my
mom
family
wasn't like, my baby, no.
Oh, for sure. But they still, man. My family is still kind of scared. They're still scared and they're still not used to it, which I don't think they'll ever be.
Yeah.
But no, they definitely didn't. Like, some of them, it was mixed feelings. My friends were all like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah. You've been moving my ass in the backyard for years, so finally, go get your ass whooped." So they were cool with it. My dad always was kind of the same as my grandmother. He always knew that I had a future in athletics, so he was like, "Nah, this is it. Like, this is what you were called for." As soon as I brought it up to him that I wanted to do it. I had a couple buddies that were doing it as well, and that a little high up. Tanner Gilly, shout out to Tanner Gilly, Austin Swallow. These guys were already doing it.
Yeah, okay.
So definitely drew some inspiration from them. Josh, he's a legend where we're from.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my dad was on board. My mom was kind of, on the fence about it. My grandmother was on the fence about it. But yeah, it was kind of just mixed feelings, man.
Have they accepted it now since you've been doing it for a while?
Oh yeah, now? I feel like you got to at this point. I've had 11 fights later, 9-2 as a total record. They better accept it. I think it's a little too late to go. I tried it. It was fun. This is what I do now, man.
So let me ask you this question. So your first fight, like you said, you was training in March, and the fight is in September.
Yeah.
Then you get to the fight. So you won your first fight, right?
Yes, sir.
So how is that feeling? Like, how is that?
The win?
Yeah, the first win.
Like,
man, it was only 15 seconds long. So that was kind of like the cherry on top. It was a 15-second knockout. So that was the best feeling I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
Up to that point, up to that point, it beat any football feeling. It beat any sports that I'd played before feeling. It beat everything. That was the highest, it was like an adrenaline high that I can't explain to this day, but I guess I still get it. At the end of every win, I get that same, that's what really I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to that feeling of being successful in what I love. And winning a fight, man, just, there's no other feeling like it.
But let me ask you this. So let's say, knowing yourself, you win the first fight and the feeling was great. Mm-hmm. So what if it was the other way around? How would you take it at that moment?
How would I have taken a loss?
Yeah, would you think that would quit?
Let's just say you thought you had it, you worked your ass out, and then first fight you lost.
So, cool story, man. My first fight, like I said, it was 15 seconds. It was a crazy 15 seconds. It wasn't like a Phil happened. He faked the glove touch. We went to touch gloves in the middle, and he threw a big left hook off of it and caught me. And then, honestly, up until my pro career, that was the hardest I'd been hit in a fight. And so I remember thinking, in the 15 seconds, I remember my mind saying, what am I doing here? Like I remember like I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like this is so stupid. Like I was like confirming, yeah, this is dumb. Like, but yeah, man, but I got the knockout and I was like, and you know, I learned a lot in 15 seconds because I learned that like in those 15 seconds, I just went through adversity. I went through self-doubt. I went through having to overcome something. Like it was like if I could do that in a 15-second span, what's the limits on this sport?
Yeah, 15 seconds it's not much. When you say all this and just 15 seconds, it happens so quick. Your mind
it felt so much longer than 15. And I was
probably
like,
felt like 10 minutes.
Oh, bro, what? I was tired. Nah, but it felt a long time. But to answer your question, man, if I would have came out on the other end of it, I feel like the team I had behind me, you know, these guys, they would have not let me put it down right there. Like,
okay.
I don't know how I would have felt. I think I would have, you know, the warrior in me wants to tell myself, you know, I can't go out on an L. So I probably would at least try to get one more, you know, just to get that win.
Yeah.
But the guys around me weren't going to let me. I was already dedicated, going to the gym a lot. You know, they were seeing my face a lot. So they wouldn't have let me quit off one, I don't think. I hope not.
So within the process of fighting, like whenever you go through a camp, like for people that don't quite really know what happened within that process, what really happened? Like you get 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
So my whole career, I was doing six-week camps. I felt like anything longer than that, I would just break my body down. And I have sports injuries. You know, I've torn my ACL. I've broke my femur. So I have injuries, wear and tear from football. So I was finding that like 6 weeks was my spot where I could peak cardio-wise, but I wasn't damaging my body too much. When I turned pro, I had my first pro fight. It was the hardest fight of my life. Like, it was a war. I got busted open. I was down on the scorecards, and I knocked him out in the third round. At that point, I was like, my camp's got to be longer. I got to be able to, if my body breaks down, I got to get used to that feeling because my body's going to break down in a fight. You know, there's going to be trials and tribulations in the fight that I'm not prepared for. So I got to make sure that my body is 100%, even if I'm tired, you know. From camp, my body's got to be 100% ready. So I started doing 8 to 10 week camps. This past one I just did was 10 weeks.
How hard is it?
Oh man, a camp, man. If you do it correctly, a camp is not supposed to be good. A camp, you know, fight week is supposed to be the week where your body is screaming, please break, please take a break. Your body's got to be screaming that. If your body's not screaming break on fight week, you did camp all wrong. So, you know, 10 weeks of my schedule looked like waking up, going to the gym at 11 a.m. From 11 a.m. to 1:30. I would go home. I'd eat. I'd take me a nap till about 4:30, and I'd go back to the gym till 6:30. And I was doing that 6 days a week. I was doing 2 a days, sometimes 3 a days. You know, if something popped up, like, hey, you want to come get some training in? If one of my homeboys hit me up, absolutely. You know, anything is helping right now. So yeah, at least 2 a days for 10 weeks straight. It's hard, you know, having a little baby, you know, just being away from the house, man. It's tough. You know, it starts to look like a job in camp. You know, it starts to look like, oh man, you got one more session today, bro. Just hold it together. We can go home and go to sleep.
Like, does your team push you? Like your trainer and the whole 9 yards?
Oh man, I couldn't do it without them. Like, I know that's a very cliche thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it, but I really couldn't. Like, everybody in my life, you know, has their role in my life. And without one person, without my wife, without my little baby, without one of my teammates, it all feels wrong, man. It's got to, you know, I'm a final product of who everybody around me.
That's
know?
great,
They
man.
all you know, Coach, Quay, Austin, Grant, Walt, I can name them all, man. They all do their part. They all make sure, and you know, I'm doing my best to do my part as well because they all have careers. You know, fighting is a team sport until it's not.
Until you get in the cage, you
can't get in the cage. Yeah, I can't be like, hey, son, come work.
Hey, Josh, you not coming?
Yeah,
You on your own,
But I
partner.
gotta ask you this, dude. Like, I got a chance to show you fight for the first time last weekend.
Yeah.
And that stomping feet while you walked in, that shit cool as fuck. Cause I know for every fighter got their thing. McGuire got the walk, Pereira got the little arrow shit. Like, most fighter got this thing that let the world knows I'm here. Where did that come from?
Oh, I'm getting chills thinking about it because I'm in that mode. But the cage stomp, man, I've tried to not do it. Like, I've tried.
I like it. Keep doing that shit.
Because my dad, you know, he's worried you don't hurt your knee, like, because you stomping pretty hard. And I'm like, Dad, like, okay, I won't do it. And I remember trying to stop for a fight, and I just did it. I can't stop doing it. It gets me prepared, but it also like I know every time I shake the cage, I look across. I stomp twice and I look across the cage. There's always fear,
and
always.
The message it sent me as a spectator watching the fight. It's kind of like we let everybody know that's my cage.
It's my cage, stepped in there. And you know it's still my cage. That's the way I look at it. That's the way you have to look at it though. Like I'm not saying I'm an outlier. Every fighter that steps in that cage, you know, unless they're doing it wrong, you got to feel like this is my house. Like you're here. Like, not in front of my family. That's how you got to look at it. That's how I look at it. The stomp is just to let them know that, like, I'm game, you know? Like, I'm mentally here. I'm physically here. There's only one way out of this cage, you know? And the only way out is me or you are winning. So, and it's going to be in front of your family and my family. So, whoever wants it more is going to go get it.
Let me ask you this. So, to me, like, personally, I had a chance, you know, the fight for me was kind of like personal. I took it really personal because I trained with a lot of those guys, and I had a chance to be in the gym. So I talk with a lot of guys, but I know I never had a chance to really talk to you about it before. But before the fight, like a week before the fight, how's that feeling? And the minute before the fight, how you feel? Is it like fear? What's going through your mind during that time? Yeah,
man. So a week before the fight, that's around the time I start getting so hungry that I don't care about the fight. And I start thinking, man, I just want food. But there are times that, like, you know, I'm kept up at night. I told you guys off camera, like, this fight kept me up a while, you know, like, usually during fight week, I don't sleep well because I'm thinking about what I need to do. Not because of my opponent scares me, but just because of what I need to do. What do I need to do to not get hurt? What do I need to do to not get beat? What do I need to do to beat him? And what do I do to hurt him? So that keeps me up, and I already have a restless mind. So, the week of the fight, man, the week before the fight, I'm just trying to get my mind ready. I'm trying to just let whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I got to trust my instincts to react in there. So I can't overthink it. Fast forward to the night of the fight, man, and the night before the fight, it's just an ongoing mental battle, man. The battle is within yourself. Like, keep calming yourself, trusting in your work. You know, that camp that I just went through, trust it. Trust that I learned enough. Trust that we went over enough. Trust that I didn't leave any stone unturned, you know? Like, I dug up everything I could to be as good as I can at this point. So I just got to fight my demons inside, you know?
Like, that's 2 fight night.
Right. I gotta just calm myself down, man. I think every time I go in there, calm is when I do my best. You know, I just got to be calm. So trying to stay calm is the battle, man, on fight week. Trying to stay calm.
Okay, let's touch up on the negative stuff a little bit. And I know the last fight you had, like, the outcome wasn't what you had hoped for. Like, let's just say as a fighter, whenever you go through that, like a loss, and you know you did the work, you did everything you were supposed to do, but yet you didn't get the outcome you wanted. How does a fighter mind process that and trying to get over it?
Man, my Lord and Savior helps me through that, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, he helps me through as far as just, like, you know, just giving it all to him. You know, making sure, like, just take this away, you know, just soothe me in some way, you know what I mean? And he did. He answered my prayer. After the fight, it was hard, man. It was hard because I had a lot of momentum, you know, and I'm at a spot right now where I'm close. I'm right where my dream is this close to becoming true. You know, I want to be a UFC fighter, and I was on the radar. And so the first thought that comes to mind when I wake up, because I went to sleep, the first thing that came to mind was, oh man, like my career set back a year, like another year of this regional scene, man. Like that's the first thing I think of, you know. Then you have family that tell you, you know, my dad, my wife, you know, they soothe me and they say, no, you know, with your skills, all it takes is 1, all it takes is 2, you know, we'll be right back where we are. So, you know, after I'm able to process everything and get in the back and hug my daughter and, you know, just look up, you know, I start to realize I'm blessed, you know. It's not like I'm fighting for hundreds of dollars anymore. I'm finally fighting for better money for me and my family. So I'm good, you know, when the fight's over. I feel good, no injuries. I'm blessed there. So you just got to start looking at the positives.
Yes.
I can be back tomorrow if I wanted. I could be back the next day. You know, I texted Kurt Holloway. Shout out Kurt Holloway. He just won the Ultimate Fighter for Chandler and McGregor. And he's from Louisiana. And I texted him. We stay in touch. And I did text him and I was like, man, give me some advice. Like, you've lost at the lowest level, you've lost at the highest level. What do I do? How do I navigate through this time? And he texted me and he said, put it behind you as fast as possible. You got to have the shortest memory ever when you lose, you know, and you really got to have the shortest memory ever when you win too. Yeah. You got to get right back on the horse. But when you lose, you got to put that behind you. You cannot hang your hat on it. You can't even really think about it or harp on it. Obviously, you got to watch it and make sure you're correcting your mistakes. But if you just sit there and poor me, you know, oh man, my career set back here, I'm just stuck in a hole.
Yeah.
You know,
and I hear that because, like I said, I've been a huge fan of the UFC. I've watched like one of my two favorite fighters are Easy, and I got Tom McGregor in there, and then you can throw Usman also in there.
Right.
And Usman, I'm sure you know that dude was a beast.
Oh,
like
he was my favorite back in the day.
Yeah,
man.
like that dude was a beast. Like when he fight, you can tell he want to take your head off.
Hey man, I'll tell you one thing. If there was a fighter that I kind of like have picked up on mentality wise, because like I do a lot of like mentality training. Like I like to demeanor. Like you got to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Especially be a fighter, man. Like it's a mental. Like yeah, it is physical, and we're gonna get in the cage in the day. But a lot of it, like the battles are before you step in there. It's the mental. It's the way you look at each other. It's the way that you react when you're in the same room as your opponent. So I watched Usman because Usman had this thing where when he was in his prime, whatever room he walked in, don't matter if there was another champion in there or not. Usman, everybody knew.
You'd feel it.
Everybody knew Usman was in the room.
Like even behind the camera, watching on your phone, you could feel it.
That's right.
But see, that's the thing, dude. That's kind of the point I want to touch upon. But after he got his head kicked in by what's that British guy? Leon Edwards. That's not the same Usman anymore. Like I don't like from a fighter perspective what that is. Like you said, you can put it behind you and keep going. But when I see Usman fight nowadays, that's not the same Usman that I know.
Yeah, man. I think that he has as far as just him personally, I think he definitely has it still in him. I think he's obviously, you know, he's got injuries he's dealing with. I mean, Usman's knees have always been, he's never been able to run.
Yeah, he got bad knees. He can't even walk on concrete from what I heard.
Right. And the fact that he was so successful without running in his career is amazing in itself. But I think fighting, I've noticed that too, and I haven't had the chance to really overcome that. I mean, you've seen Josh, Quay. Yeah. I think he was knocked out in his second ever karate combat fight.
He said that.
Came all the way back and won a title. So it didn't, it's all about how you let it affect you. That's the point of having a strong mindset and really believing in yourself. Like you got to believe in yourself. I like to say for anything, with you guys' podcast, you got to believe in yourself. Yeah. You gotta have confidence, football players got to have confidence. Basketball players got to have, in fighting, I can speak for this. You got to believe in your skills. You got to believe in yourself. If self-belief is like probably the most important thing about the sport. So, to answer your question, that head kick by Leon, that could have taken a lot of self-confidence away from Usman. That could have taken that aura away from him. He had that aura like...
He wasn't defeated for so long.
Right. He knocked out Masvidal. No one knocks out Masvidal.
Knockout. Oh, my God.
He beat Covington twice in 2 wars. He was part of like some legendary fights, and he did some legendary things. And I think that the fact that he was winning that fight and it was all taken away with
oh my God, that was
a
crazy.
split-second head kick.
I think 5th round too, right?
Right. And I think maybe it got to him, to him personally, maybe it's like, okay, I did all that work and all it takes is that. So maybe that feeling of like it could be over at any moment. So maybe that's what messes with people. Like I said, though, like I haven't been there. Like my mental is stronger now than it was last Friday. My mental now is like, yeah, I respect Elliot. He's a great fighter. He's a great dad. He's a great dude. I've never really had a friendship with one of my opponents before. It's weird. But like I think at the end of the day, I want to fight him 2 more times. But after that, I'd love to call him a friend. I'd love to call him a training partner. So my mental though, I still believe I'm the better fighter. I still believe that.
As you should.
Yeah, I believe that if we get in the cage again, I'm going to dominate him. And I think that's like I said, you got to have that self belief.
But but losing the fight. So what you taking from it? Do you feel like there is something you feel like you should work on even more, or like?
Oh yeah. Well, I think that being more open-minded in fights, like, and what I mean by that is like being able to like widening my eyes, being able to see it all unfold. Like I noticed, like the reason I beat myself in this fight, and the reason I beat myself is because I was so set on a firefight. He was posting all month. He was gonna knock me out. He was gonna knock me out. He was gonna knock me out. He did it. He got in my mental, bro.
It's a mental warfare.
It was mental warfare, and he did a damn good job. He's a nice guy, which you wouldn't see it coming, but he was posting. Like, if you go back and look at all his posts, we're going to be throwing shots until someone goes to sleep. I don't even care if I win. He said, I don't even care if I win. I just want to fight. Brother, I'm the guy.
You felt like it was going to be a war, like y'all going to be swinging left and right.
Right, and I'm the guy for that because, like, I welcome that. Like I want a war. Every time I step in the cage, you know, my favorite fighter ever is John Jones. I mean, he's the conqueror of all.
That dude is just too talented.
I mean, I feel like he's everybody. Like if you've watched the sport around the time he was in it, he's your favorite fighter.
I watched it all along.
To be honest, the guy that I look up to the most is Dustin Poirier. He's my.
I feel like y'all got the same style.
Hey, that's the biggest compliment I've ever gotten.
No, honestly, y'all got the same style.
Because man, that guy is a freaking dog. That dude is a warrior. Y'all just saw him fight Islam. How many people said that Islam was going to choke him?
Even if he lost, that was a masterpiece.
You like he could retire off that, and that's a beautiful way to retire.
That was a master freaking piece, especially when you know you're fighting those guys from Dagestan, and you know like his takedown defense was perfect.
Right. And to think that like it was that good after he fought Khabib, who did have his way with Dustin, and Charles Oliveira who choked him out. He's been choked out a couple times, so. The fact that he was able to give Islam a fight, and Islam for a minute looked like he bit off more than he could chew. Like he was definitely
he was getting tired.
Yeah, and I think that I want to, and he inspired me in that way. I look at Dustin; he could get hit hard, he could get rocked, he could get choked out. He never's down. Like how many times has he fought back and fought for the title? Resilience. Dustin is as resilient as they come. Big fan of Dustin, man. But yeah, I would like to, like, that's how I want to model myself. Like, that's my inspiration. I want to be able to say, like, you can't punk me. Like, whatever war you're ready for, like, there's nothing that's too absurd that I'm not ready for in a fight. Like, every time I step in the cage, I'm ready to bleed. That's just how it is.
So, as a fan of Dustin Poirier, hearing him saying that his last fight might be it, how does that make you feel? Because I know that shit breaks my heart. Because I want to see Dustin in there again at least 2-3 more times. Honestly.
It's bittersweet. It's selfishly, I want to see him fight 100 more times because that's just like Dustin's fights are so fun for me. But like the fact that I do care about him as a person, and like I know, it's weird to say, but I do. I care about his well-being. He's a good dude. He deserves a lot. He deserves, to have a good life. So like, I think it'd be okay if he hung him up. He's had a great career. He's had a great career. He's fought for more titles than almost anybody in that division's history.
He always got so freaking close, and he never yet get it though. Like,
man,
damn.
I think that's part of the story.
That's gotta be heartbreaking.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. It's gotta be tough, man, to be so close so many times. Because he was close to beating Charles too. Charles was on his rise. Dustin knocked him down a couple times in that first round.
Like Charles on the ground. Oliveira got a good ground game. You gotta give him that at least.
Right. Yeah. And I think Dustin being so close so many times. Hey, man, that's as good as like. You were right there so many times. That shows how great you were and how consistent you were.
But I get that. From me, he has my respect, and I'm sure he has respect as well. But I'm talking like on a personal level. So close so many freaking times. Man, it's not like you lack the skills or the talent. You know you got it. You know you a dog. Like, let's just say, put yourself in these shoes as a professional fighter.
Yeah.
How you think would that make you feel? Because you got close so many times, and you know you got what it takes.
It would be mentally hard. Like, you could only imagine how mentally hard that would be. What is that? That's like, remember Karl Malone back in the Gap? Didn't he? He was always so close. Bro, could never get it done, bro. So, that's got to be hard mentally. It's got to be hard on your mental, I'd imagine. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just what makes him so great, too, man.
Exactly.
It's the fact that he was so close.
He got my respect.
So, like, yeah, but mentally, bro, I see where you're like, that's got to be...
That's gotta suck, man.
It's got to, bro.
That shit gotta suck.
It's gotta suck, dog. It's gotta suck. It's just but it's how the cards, it's how the cards fell. It's how the game's played. Even when he fought for the BMF title, he beat Gaethje. Yeah. And then when you put gold into it, I don't know.
But, do you think, like, right now, let's just say, of course, he doesn't go, like, he doesn't get the belt. Let's just say if he goes back for the BMF fighting Holloway. That's his name, right?
Holloway, I think he'd beat Holloway again.
Man, Holloway got them hands, man.
He does, but they fought twice already.
I think Dustin beat him once.
No, Dustin beat him twice.
Twice?
Dustin beat him twice.
But Holloway got them hands, man.
He subbed him the first time. He I think with a mounted triangle, I believe, and then in the second time they went to decision, but Dustin whooped him. But
the beautiful thing about Holloway, man, he'll swing with you.
Hey,
that's one guy. If you say he's gonna swing, he's gonna swing.
That's my dream fight. I pray that he's still there when I get there because. Like, respect to him. Like, it's no disrespect. I love Max Holloway, but, like, I want that fight. I want to go through what he's able to put me through. Because I don't think there's a lot of guys out there that are going to sit there, like, even in the UFC. Like, I've been saying this for years. I don't think there's a lot of guys that can sit there and trade with me and live and continue to live throughout the fight to tell the story. You know what I mean? Like, I do believe that, my intentions with my hands are a little worse than most people's. So, but I do think Holloway's the guy to do it. I think.
My question, I gotta
go.
Yeah, like my question, because like I'm bringing you to the UFC. So after the Josh and I had a chance, now I'm going to the looking at those stuff.
Right.
But as somebody that's trying to get to the UFC, watching all these guys.
Right.
So do you think you can, like, those guys are really good? Do you feel like you're on that level
now
if you had a chance to go to the UFC?
Oh yeah, and it started not last year. Early this year it started because I went to Dallas. Brandon Moreno's in Dallas. Jeff Neal is in Dallas, 170er. He's a monster. Kyle Crutchmer, Jacob Smith, they're all in Dallas. Those guys, two of those guys are national champion wrestlers, the highest level wrestler you can get. And I sparred with them and I did good, like I belong there. And that's the first thing they all told me is I belong. So that was the last bit of confidence, because before that I had not had that high level UFC training yet with those UFC level guys, and I hadn't had a conversation with them. When I went out there and I tested my skills, and I said, and I went out there kind of out of shape, to be honest. Like, it was like I was like 2 weeks out from a knockout, so I was like already getting big, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go train my hardest. I'm gonna go try to make a name for myself. This is more important than a fight for me. I'm gonna make sure that when I leave this gym, everybody knows who I am, and I did. I went over there. I didn't shy away from any training. The rounds they put, as soon as I got there, the head coach Saif Saud, he said, all those UFC fighters, he sat them to the side. He called my name. They called me Louisiana over there. And he said, Louisiana, Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo is 11-3 in the UFC. He's a 145er. And we had a comp round in front of the whole gym. Everybody watched. And Austin, if you're hearing this, like, I think I won. I think I won the round. As a 14-fight pro, I was coming off. I think I won the round. I think I impressed. But I also don't think I was the only one that felt that way, because they had high praise from me after that. Like, I was tired. Funniest thing is, man, like I said, I was out of shape. As soon as the round was over, I puked everywhere. And, the coach was like, and I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, they ain't got no guys puking in this gym. Like, what am I doing? And coach came up to me. He was like, you know why I respect you? And this was the UFC Coach of the Year last year, Saif Saud. He said, you know why you impressed me? I said, why? He goes, because I didn't know you were going to throw up until you threw up. I know you were sick during the round, but you didn't show it. You fought through it. He's like, that taught me more about you than any round could have. So I was proud of myself.
I think how we live both lives. The typical 9 to 5, like I said, the same thing every day, to being a fighter. Ooh. What would be the difference between those two lifestyles?
It's big. It's big. And I was, I can appreciate it because I lived both of them. And I did them. I lived them both at a young age. It is so different. It's different because, people say, when you work for yourself, it's actually, you're on a tighter schedule, or you're not going to make it. You got to work hard. If you're, doing something for yourself, which I think fighting, the business is myself. I'm trying to market myself. I'm trying to market my brand, which is my name. That's how you make money in this sport. Conor McGregor, he wrote the blueprint down for everybody. Anybody who hates on Conor McGregor, you can hate on him for his antics all you want. But guess what? He paved the way for us, as far as like putting combat sports into the mainstream media and making it one of those major sports. Conor did that. Yeah, and
he's a beast.
He taught me, just me personally, he taught me that your brand in this sport, is your name. That's your brand. It's who you are. And so, like, I'm working for myself, essentially, like I'm working to grow my business, grow my brand. So I got to stay on top of that shit 24/7, whether that be social media, the way I perceive myself on social media, the way I perceive myself in public, the way I perceive myself at shows, the way I perceive myself in the cage, like that all matters now.
So speaking of Conor got that mental warfare. And I saw Dana White said that recently, that Conor and Muhammad Ali mentally, they're just like on a whole new level. Because we all know Conor can talk that shit. He can get into your freaking head.
Right.
But do you think you got that like within your arsenal to where you can just get within your opponent's head, not like talking shit to that level?
In a different way. Like the way you ended that, like definitely a different way. Like I'm not gonna be I don't ever believe in bringing family into things. Like if I'm gonna talk, I've had my fair share of beef in this sport. I feel like I've beefed with half my opponents, but I've never brought family into it because that's sacred. You don't touch family, and not in this. This is a sport. This isn't. We're fighting, but at the end of the day, we're fighting as a sport.
But Conor will push that button.
Conor will push that button, and that's him. Every man's got their own code. Every man's got their morals. Mine, I will never go after family. And if someone comes after my family, they better be ready to throw when it's time to fight. But yeah, I think I do it. I definitely have that mental. I know I do because I still call myself a pussy. I do. I do. If I have a bad training session, I do. If I felt like I could have given more at a training session, if I feel like I could have given more to run or, anything, I do. I feel like come on, Hunter, like, what are you doing, bro? You don't have no dog in you, So that's the most important thing. There's no one skill, not my boxing, not my kickboxing, not my grappling. There's nothing that's more important to me than my mental. I'm a dog. I got to believe that I'm a dog. That's the self-belief we were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I think somebody said, like, you got to be the type of person, even if you give 150%, you got to go home and be mad that you didn't give 200.
And that's a part of being great is never being satisfied. That it's cliche, and I feels like I'm saying a lot of cliche things. But
it's not cliche because I got the same mindset.
But some people don't. Trust me, you'd be like some people that don't. Like some people, they feel like you should be happy with this. Like I always tell people, I don't look behind me, I look forward. So don't tell me how you got people that's doing worse. Yes, I'm aware. Now I'm chasing what's in front of me. So don't tell me I should be satisfied.
Right. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, even though with me and my mindset, like, I always feel like every day I'm a loser. Even though people can look at me and say, "Oh man, you've done a lot." Shit, I haven't done shit. To me in my head, like, nope. I'm still like a big old loser. So I can understand you saying like, "Oh man, you still feel like you a pussy." It's just that mindset, like you don't want to be still. You don't want to feel like, "Oh, I made it." You want to have like, still hungry. You know what I mean?
The moment you get comfortable is the beginning of the end.
That's true.
In everything. That is no true words have ever been spoken. The moment you get comfortable and content on where you're at, that is the beginning of the end of where you're at. It is true. If you look at it, through history of anything, sports, showbiz, there's everything, just owning your own business, podcasting, when you are comfortable and when you think you've done enough and you feel like you don't have that hunger to get better, that's the beginning of the downfall. Now, it might not be a downfall as like you lose everything. It could just be where that's as big as you're growing. But yeah, I think that, my wife, she sat down because like it was hard for me, the night after the fight this past weekend and the next day, because like I just kept replaying to myself like I wasn't happy. Because I beat myself. And she just kept telling me, you're being too hard on yourself. You expect too much out of yourself. And I'm like, but isn't that why I'm here? Like, that's why I'm in the position to feel this way, right? Because I was fighting for a professional title 3 years into my career. Like, I think the reason I was there is because I'm hard on myself. Because, and I don't want to sit here and lie and say that, I've always been the hardest worker because I haven't. I let myself get to 240 pounds. When I first started the sport, I definitely took it for granted. I definitely didn't train as hard as I should have. I didn't put as much time into the ground as I should have, and it shows. I am now, I've definitely matured. This sport you've had no choice but to mature, I mean, you can't be a kid in this sport.
Again, there's a definition like sport, like soccer or football. There's a difference. Yeah, you can lose again, but fighting is you can punch, bro. This is like you gotta be like everything matters. I'm talking about like you don't want to get
every inch.
That's why it's a whole nother level of mental, because football you just throwing a ball, basketball you just shoot, but fighting is just you can get murdered in there. Somebody can just kill you in there.
Life. I mean, if you look at it,
you get physically hurt. A basketball game you lose, it might hurt your pride. A soccer game, same thing. But a fight game, you got your ass whooped.
Right. You're a lesser man.
That's literally, a basketball game. Yeah, I just whoop your butt. That's but fighting is literally you getting your ass kicked. That's a whole nother level.
Yeah, man. You're basically outmanned. Is what you know
what
I mean?
So told you the bigger man than your type of thing.
Damn, like how am I gonna? I can't really say shit to this dude. He just beat me. Like, what am I about to say? Challenge him to Madden, I guess. Like I'm gonna beat you in video games, though. But no, yeah, man. I think, man, you gotta in anything, man. You just gotta work. You just gotta work, man. And I, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I've been the hardest worker. I tell you what, I've busted my ass recently. When I've seen the levels, when I was blessed enough to go to Dallas, and I've seen the levels and the level that they're at, and the fact that they're still every day grinding. That's inspiring, man. And that shows me right there, like I can't be a great at this sport because I'm not trying to be like I told a lot of my following after this fight. I'm not trying to be good. Like I'm not trying to be great. I'm not. I'm trying to be the best ever. Like I am. I truly believe in myself to that extent. Like I want to be the best fighter ever. I want to rival John Jones. I want to rival. Like you know, coach told me last week, he said, we're not training for Elliot. We haven't been training for Elliot. We're training for Islam. That's what we're training for. Every day I get in the gym, I'm training for Islam Makhachev. I'm not training for...
Damn.
If I train...
That's the mindset you should have.
If I'm training for Islam, what is this dude going to do to me? If I'm training for the best guy in the world, what is he going to show me that he can't? I'm training for Islam.
I had a chance to see, like, you know, since the whole Josh, I'm telling you, and the fight the other day got me hyped up. Like, I mean, that shit blew my mind. So I started watching Hamzat. This is a beast, bro.
That dude's a bad dude, man.
Hamzat
Hamzat's a bad dude. He's
Scary,
the first guy from Doggeston that's not humble.
I mean, I don't think, like, because when I was watching him,
That
because
dude is not humble
But
at
you
all.
say he's not humble, but the whole time, I understand, because watching his little documentary he got,
Yep.
I can understand why. It's just like, he's not just...
But think about
he
it.
got that, you know, like sometimes he's just, maybe it's a coping mechanism. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill everybody. He's just like
But I
telling
think
himself
that's
that.
why
But
he's not humble, because if you
He's not
compare them
humble,
to,
it's just-
compare them to like all the other guys that's from like Dagestan, even though they train just as hard, but they always humble. That dude,
But
he
he
trained
got
hard
that.
and he talk his shit.
But he's winning though.
Of
That's what I'm
course
saying.
he
Like,
is.
he so believe this shit. Like, it's not like you going there like he's gonna kill them. I'm a big Hamza fan because I can see it.
Yeah.
He's just that dude, boy. When he said bring everybody, I
kill everybody. Yeah.
Hey, I gotta ask you this on a different gear. You've been training.
Yeah.
You know you're a bad dude compared to like any civilian.
Yeah.
You know you can just take him out easily. Let's just say you're in a public place, you chilling.
Yeah.
Because we kind of asked Josh the same
Yeah.
question. You at a club, wherever you might be, you chilling, and there's a dude that just stepped up to you.
Yeah.
And you know you can take him out within 2 seconds. Like how does that feel? Like what kind of training you do to your mind to know to keep it cool? Because Josh said he went through that phase, but he's older now, he doesn't calm down. But you're pretty young. How do you handle that?
I definitely have gone through it too, but I think I've matured young at that. I have, because I used to be like, I fought in bars, you know, in high school. That's a big reason why I wanted to go to the gym, because I fought a lot, you know, fist fight. Like I said, I beat my friends up in the yard, but it wasn't just like that. Like I was fist fighting, and I'm on YouTube for it. Like I've tried to get it down for years, but I have a street fight. When you look up Hunter Smith on YouTube, yeah, my fights come up, but so does my street fight.
I'm
And-
definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, and I've definitely like tried to get that reported and got it turned off because I don't have access to the account no more. I didn't even put it up there though. My boy got it up there for me and put a song in the background or whatnot. But yeah, man, I think, you know, I've explained this to people. Back then, you bumped me at a bar, we throwing. You know.
Okay.
Now you bump me at a bar, I'm buying you a drink to diffuse the situation.
Why is that? It's just like mercy on the
because I
guy?
know what's
You
up.
just sticking in mercy on him? Is that what it
Because
is?
I know it's up. Because I know, and I mean, it should be, bro. I spent, like, while these guys are, you know, providing for their families in other ways, you know, working a trade or, you know, doing other things, I'm literally fighting 100% of my life. So I better be able to whoop, you know, someone who doesn't. But that's, you know, how I feel. It's just like, I know what I'm capable
So
of.
is it some sort of mercy?
Yeah, and then I mean, you've seen it. You've hit the striking classes. You understand the levels just from going.
Yeah.
Just from being there a couple days. You know, like it don't take you long to be like, oh shit. If one of these motherfuckers got mad, like if Josh Quaid got mad, like,
Hey, that's what I
Josh a
tell him.
bad
I
dude,
say, man,
I've
look,
been watching his fight, like all his highlights lately. Josh is a bad dude.
you know what I mean? Look, you see this
And
right
he's
here,
so
bro?
cool.
He's done broke my nose. Like he is a bad dude. And
oh, he's bad.
I tell everybody, he is one of the top 100% without a doubt in my mind. He is one of the top 100 strikers that's ever lived and ever.
I believe
I mean, because
so.
you know,
Versus-
like when him training me, like that was impressive to me. It's just like the way his body move. Like he's just like he's floating. Like before you even think about it, his body's already done it.
Yeah.
So you can. He's not like somebody like his body move like.
But he's so
you
nice
can't-
though. Like why
he's
he's so
super
nice. Like you
nice.
see Josh
He's
probably think that's the biggest
super-
pussy that ever
I
walked on the
still
face
don't
on
like
the earth.
sparring his ass. I
He's-
still don't
yeah.
like sparring. I don't care how high level I get. When I'm in the UFC, I'm still not gonna like to spar Josh Quaid. That's still like to this day, that motherfucker whoops me up and down that gym.
He's just such a lovable guy, though. You
Oh,
will never.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
the
he's-
nicest. He's just.
You know, I have a really, really tight relationship with my dad. My dad is my whole world to me. But Josh Quaid is like my second dad. Josh Quaid, I look at Josh as the way I look at, you know, a father figure. Like
yeah,
he's an inspiration to me. I'm gonna go ahead and say this on the podcast. I mean, but for this fight, you know, this past weekend, I told him in the locker room I didn't want to weird him out or anything, but. And I don't know, you take this however you want, but he has some clothes at the gym that, you know, he keeps at the gym because he's at the gym all day. He works out, he changes, he is a wash machine Man, I went and got, the tights I was wearing. I went to the gym when he wasn't there, and I got some of his underwear. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fight in Josh's underwear and not tell him until. So I pulled him right before my fight, man. This he can confirm this, man. Right before this fight, I pulled him to the second locker room, and I was like, I'm wearing your underwear. Like, I just felt like this
That's
is
some
like,
good luck shit.
man, I want to feel that warrior. I want to feel that feeling, like, and I do. I feel it, like. But yeah, so that's just how much I respect Josh, man.
He's
like
a
that
warrior,
dude,
bro.
And just like the best dude, like one of the best.
That's the
men.
crazy
Dude,
part.
he's the coolest dude
Hey,
ever.
I'm just saying,
One of the coolest guys I ever met.
he's
He's
a
the coolest
weapon
man.
walking in 2 feet.
Nah, he is a
but-
secret weapon.
But you will never know. That's
He's so
the crazy.
cool. He's always smiling.
Hey, you probably
Hey,
think like
he
you can whoop
talks.
his ass. Hey, you can walk to Josh. He probably at the club chilling. You be like, man, I'll whoop
You
your ass.
probably need to
right
punk
quick.
him, right?
You can.
Good thing his ears look like they do, because he would. That's all it takes from me. Like if I look at his ears, his ears are all messed up. Yeah, like,
Again. You don't want that
whoa,
smoke.
bro, like you're nice for a reason, brother. But nah, that's a bad dude, man. That is bad, and that's the reason why we're bad. That's the reason why this gym right here is so good, the best in Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's a reason. It's because our sensei is that dude. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows Josh. And that's another guy. When he walks in a room, yeah, he's the nicest guy in the world. But guess what? The world,
Yeah, we
he's
know.
in the room with you.
You
'Cause
know. You've
it's
seen
like
him
one of
fight.
the,
You know.
right? It's like like when you're at the zoo or something. You know what I mean? You see on the other side of the cage, you see a lion walking. It's like, jeez, like there's nothing I can do. That's how I feel. Josh is. Obviously, there's days where I feel like I get the better of him. Like I hit him more than normal, but he knows that too. He feels that when I start getting the better of him. He turns up on me. He broke my nose a week after my first pro fight. He was in the fight mode. I fought and he had a fight. I debuted and then he had a fight a couple weeks later. So when my fight was over, I was just going to the gym to get him work. He was ready to work. So I'm the closest in the gym to his weight. So I'm kind of like his punching bag. And he was whooping my ass and he broke my nose with a nice time head kick, And, a lot of people don't know, man, his last 2 fights, he don't have an ACL in those fights. Like, I've torn my ACL, and I know how that feels. He has fought without an ACL in his last 2 fights.
But like that level of warrior mentality, though, and I know a lot of people seek it or want it, perhaps they believe they have it. Clearly, Josh, it's not a question of belief. He does have it.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think that comes from as a fighter? Like, is it just like, because I always say part of confidence is delusion. But some people, when they speak that confidence, you can tell they're not even trying to trump themselves. They're not lying to themselves. They know it.
Right. Fighting has this way of making you feel helpless. Like, if you're fighting someone who knows what they're doing, like, I've been in multiple training sessions with guys, Josh included, guys on the ground that have put me there, and, like, I feel helpless. Like, there's nothing I can do. So you learn a lot about yourself in that moment. You learn to, like, do I want to keep doing this? If you can get up from feeling helpless, another man had you feeling helpless, if you can get up and say, I want to get better and do this shit again, you developed it. You have it. I think the warrior mindset comes from not giving up and just embracing the suck. Josh says that all the time in the gym, embrace the ugly, and that's what I texted him after this fight. After the fight, I said, Coach, put me through any type of ugly you put me through. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for the end. But that's what it is, man. It's attrition. It's a battle of attrition. You go through things. You go through moments where you feel helpless and you feel backed up in the corner and there's really nothing you can do. And you find a way to get out of it and you find a way to keep going, And that's where the warrior mindset is. Because if another man holding you down when you can't do anything about it doesn't break you, there's nothing in that cage that's going to break you.
Yeah, he got something in the world that really like stuck with me, and he said in the podcast, like a black belt is a
white belt that never gave
quit. Yeah, I mean it's so true. When you and I keep playing in my head. It's just like, think about it. You just go over the green, you don't know nothing, like somebody like me, and 3 years later, 4 years later, you become a black belt. That's mean I never quit. You never quit for 4 years.
That's
for
all
you to get to that level. And it take I go there. I didn't know. I mean, I fight, but never to a level like that.
Yeah.
But and that shit is tiring. I just realized even just the little movement we're doing, I'm like, man.
Yeah, man.
That shit take a lot. Imagine you in there for like 15, 20 minutes, bro. That's taking. You can feel the fighter. What's that dude who was fighting?
I'm the guy you were telling me, the slim down.
Yeah, look, I forgot his name.
I think first round he was. No, I think he wasn't Grant.
He fought this past weekend?
Yeah.
I think it was like a kickboxing fight.
Them two black, they was fighting.
James, Doc.
Doc.
He got tired
You can
quick
see
a
there
bit.
was all of them was tired. I was like, man. I said, man, I can understand because that shit take power, man. That shit
it's hard, man.
It's hard.
And to be able to control it is like, that's the battle of the, the cardio in itself. You got to be able to you got to learn how to not throw everything into your punches. You got to conserve energy. Conserving energy is like probably more important than wasting it. You got to be able to say, okay, I can throw these shots, but I got to make sure what I'm throwing, I'm conditioned well enough to throw them without getting tired. I've been in this position before. So that's what training does. You get in those positions, you understand what makes you tired. The squeeze makes you tired when you're grappling. Trying to hold on to a choke too long can gas your arms out.
That's something you would never think.
Yeah, flurrying punches, like, oh shit, he's hurt. I'm going to jump on him. I smell blood. Well, there's been a lot of people that have gassed out trying to stop the fight. So, yeah, man, I think you just got to, that's part of the battle, man, is conserving your energy, conserving your power.
I got to ask you, as a fighter, you're in the cage.
Yeah.
You got to open it in front of you, the crowd going crazy. Like, what's going on within your mind? Are you focused within the opening inside, like within in front of you? Or are you just thinking, or you trying to read them and the whole nine? You're like, what's going through like a fighter's mind
me or
within
him.
a fight?
It's me or him. Like, all these people are here to see us fight, and it's me or him. That's the only thing that goes through my mind in the cage. Mike Tyson, he used to say, I'm scared, I'm terrified, but the closer I step to the ring, I get more and more confident.
Josh said that too.
That's the truest shit about fighting. That's true, man. Like, in the back, I feel like, oh, am I supposed to be here? Like, do I even want to be here? Like, do I belong here? The music hits. My music hits. Oh, shit. Like, nah, I can't walk backwards now. I got to go forward. But
that's another feeling.
But as I'm walking closer, I've done this before. I do it every Friday night. I fight with my teammates. Like, I do this a lot. Like, okay, I'm getting a little bit more better. I'm getting a little bit more confident. Let me pray. Let me say a couple prayers to my, to my Nana and my God. And when I step in the cage, and then you hear it close behind you, I can't say.
Hey man,
you know what? When you
it
say
is what it is.
You know what I was thinking, because when he's saying that, that's to bring the same thing I was talking about earlier between like any other sports. You playing basketball, you got that mentality. You like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna kill you. It's just you playing basketball.
Yeah.
This is like you go into the cage like, yo, this
when that man said he's trying to kill me, he means that shit, literally.
Hey, but I tell you what,
that's
Kobe,
another level, bro.
It is. But Kobe Bryant is a reason, I live by Kobe, man. Like, Kobe, he was really that guy. He was really that killer.
Sure. Like, you can tell it.
Didn't matter what sport he was playing. Like, he was going to be that killer in any sport he was in. Like, there are killers like that in other sports, and they stand out. I
think Hamzat got it just like Kobe, bro.
Yeah, Hamzat, man.
I think he got it like that. I tell you what,
man, my boys, we have a pretty tight friend group, and like, I'm the only one in my friend group that doesn't care for Hamzat. But it's not because of anything. It's just because I want to see him fight, and he just won't fight. But Hamzat,
I see him knock at somebody.
Let me ask your opinion. What was your opinion of that fight versus Trailblazer? Like when he
Kevin Holland?
Yeah, Kevin Holland. When he just hopped in there.
I love Kevin,
when
man.
he got him out of there, like as if you didn't even belong in there with me. Like,
dude, that was just Hamzat saying, like, just doing everything he said he would do. I think that he just believed in himself, right? That was self-belief. He believed he could go in there and just dominate someone who had been really good in the UFC for a long time, and he did it. He believed that.
Kevin Holland ain't no punk. And then he just walked in there and make him feel like you don't even belong to be in there with me. I feel like that was a big statement to me as a fan watching it. I think that's when I became a fan of him. After
they're feeding him something over there, man. I got it.
Hey, man, I see the one when he give that dude like the uppercut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Askarov. It was before the UFC. Yeah, that was beautiful. Actually.
Hey, that's what I've been doing since Saturday, bro. I've been watching fight all day.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm into this shit.
What's your favorite knockout you ever seen, and who's done it by who?
Favorite knockout I've ever seen in the UFC. Favorite knockout
ever, whether it's been at the gym, wherever.
Oh shit, that has to be the top 7 of them are mine. But because they made me feel the best. But as far as just like the best knockout that I've ever seen, like as far as like, I'll do 2 because I don't want to disrespect. So I'll do outside the UFC and I'll do the inside. Inside the UFC, the best knockout I've ever seen is for not skill for skill. The best knockout, they have some crazy knockouts. Showtime Pettis' kick off the cage was crazy. But like as far as just like how they made me feel, man, I don't know if y'all remember. This is more recent. Izzy and Alex Pereira. Ooh. It wasn't even really a knockout. It was a TKO, standing TKO. But like that made me feel like, because I didn't know how to feel about that fight. You know, Izzy was so unbeatable at the point to where like, and he was winning the fight. So I remember that being like wow, like that's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. But as far as outside the cage, man, I got to go with one of my teammates, man. They're awesome. They're some badasses, bro. Like Nevin Drehouse's head kick knockout. I mean, that's a highlight. Austin Swallow's got a head kick knockout.
Austin pretty good. I mean, that's my first time seeing one.
Hey, he's a genius.
He's a beast in there, bro.
Yep, he's a big reason behind my striking. You know, he's taught me a lot of everything I know.
Good.
So favorite knockout of all time, man. I know I just talked a lot. Oh, you know what? Max and Gaethje. Let's do Max and Gaethje because
that was gangster.
That's the best knockout ever.
That was gangster.
That's the best.
You know why I like Max Holloway?
To do it against the highlight Justin Gaethje, you know, like to point down and just throw and
once
then,
he point, you already know what time it is. We finna swing.
That's why I want to fight him because I know how to answer
once
that.
he point to the ground, that means okay, we finna swing, and he ain't backing up.
Right. That's the best knockout ever. That's my favorite.
That was a clean freaking knockout for sure. But I gotta ask you this though.
Yeah.
You've been fighting for as long as you've been fighting. What was like that one time like you were training or you were fighting? Perhaps it happened in the beginning to where you felt like in that moment to where doubt crept in within a camp.
Doubt. And this was training? You're asking me
within
training?
Like within the camp, you felt like doubt was creeping in. Because as life, as people, doubt gonna creep in at some time. Whether it's before the fight or after the, like, you know, whatever it is, to where like doubt creeps in to where for a split second you want to give up.
So I leave sparring sometimes to this day where I doubt, you know, I'll have a bad spar. You know, I do this all the time. It's like, why did I have a bad spar? I literally live this life. Like, why did I have an off day? You know, so like I still leave with that feeling, like definitely got to check myself sometimes. But as far as just like a single moment, man, Nico, Commission, he just fought. He was the first pro fight on the card this weekend. He beat Justice.
Yeah,
Black
Nico.
dude.
I know Nico.
Yeah,
I had a chance of jiu-jitsu with Nico for a little bit.
I debuted as a professional last May. That was my first pro fight. Nico was on the card with me. So we did camp together. About 3 weeks out from the fight, I was in good shape. I had a little injury on my foot, but I felt good. Like I was moving really good. My power was there. I was coming off a title fight where I just won as an amateur. So I was feeling very confident. And Nico's fought at 35 before, you know, like it's 2 weight classes down from me. I think he's a 45er now at home. But so about 3 weeks out from my first pro fight, Nico and me had a comp round in the gym. And what a comp round is it's the simulation of a fight. Coach wants you to get in there and he wants everybody's eyes to be on you. He wants you to feel that pressure. Because when you're sparring on Fridays and everybody's on the floor, nobody's watching you, you don't have that
pressure on you.
That pressure. But that comp round is there to simulate that pressure. And I had a comp round with Nico, and it was 3 comp rounds. It was a fight. It was a comp fight. I don't know. Well, the first round went my way. I did good, you know, and I'm bigger than Nico, so I use my weight, you know. I'm going to do that when he's as good as he is. But Nico in the second and third round whooped my ass so bad. I mean, I tell this story to everybody who asks, man. Nico took me down and whooped my ass. And he's smaller than me. But I felt like I was dead tired. I was getting mauled. He submitted me a couple times. And instead of it being over, coach just said, get right back on him. You know, so coach just put me through it. So that was the time. I remember leaving that day and was like, I might go to be an electrician again. Bro. I might go wire some houses or some shit, bro. Like Nico had me rethinking my career, bro. I remember, and that was 3 weeks out from a fucking fight. So I was like,
that's funny.
I gotta find the confidence to not only be confident in myself, but be confident in that I'm gonna beat this guy who I'm fighting. And the guy that I was fighting was 6'4". He was 6 inches taller than me. So
how tall are you though? You like what?
5'9",
5'9".
6'6". I might have did the math wrong, but yeah, he was tall. I mean, if you go back and watch it, Islam Makhachev, he was 6'4".
But he has to be a whole lot slimmer than you too, also.
He was at the weigh-in, but the next night he blew up. So I remember looking at him across I did the stomp. I was
like, hey man, you know what?
Stomp my ass out this cage.
I love Hunter, man, because Hunter's Will, man. I like that.
I like that, man.
Shit. Because you know what, bro? It's cool to joke about it because like I really lived that shit, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I remember standing across the cage from him, and he just felt like he took up so much space because he was so long and tall and everything, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I am 5'9". I have a 70-inch reach. He had an 80-inch. He had 10-inch reach on me. So I was like, and on top of that, he kept eye poking me. because he was so long, he would just reach out. So, like, it was a lot of adversity at a battle. But it all started with Nico whooping my ass 3 weeks prior. Like, it.
Probably you needed that.
Oh, I did. Because
Nico's pretty good, though.
Nico is a dog, man.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know that.
But he's a fighter. Like, he ain't, like, that's why fighters got to have managers. Because if it's up to us, like, give me Islam tomorrow. But it's not the smartest thing. But, like, the warrior in me is like, no, I really want to fight him tomorrow. Nico's like that. Like, Nico needs management. Nico, because if you don't, Nico might run off and fight Conor McGregor. You know, like, Nico, he just wants to fight people.
Yeah, I didn't know that because it's crazy.
So
It's crazy, yeah, because he's
the guy with the glass. I spoke with him on the way in.
I'm just saying, the funny,
his hair.
hey, man, the funny thing is, that's what I'm saying. Those guys are so dangerous.
It's like they got a different mindset.
You never know. I was a jiu-jitsu. He was showing me a lot of things. You know, he was teaching me and stuff like that. You would never think he was that badass. When I see him in the fight, I was like, oh shit. Nico can fucking fight.
And
he's another level, bro.
I
would
felt
never
it
think,
too, man.
all them guys are nice. They fool you, bro. They so nice guy. I tell him I'm gonna whoop his ass in a year or so. I'm gonna be nice. He probably think like I'm super
the
nice.
The nicer you get, the more dangerous you get.
It's like a thing though, because like just take it back a bit to Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is like somebody who just walk somewhere and see him and be like, man, I can smack the shit out of this dude, even though that'd be the biggest mistake you ever made in
I
your
be
life.
thinking about that, man. We always talk about, we're like, I wonder if Josh ever like just gets that big chested feeling. Like, I can't imagine him doing that. But you know, like, yeah, dude, Nico, he's as quiet as they come, but he knows how to turn it on. Like, he does. I've been on the receiving end of it. He does. He knows how to turn it on, and he's relentless. He's got great cardio, great boxing, good grappling. He's been in it for so long. He's been in the game. The first day I came to the gym in 2016, this was way back then.
Yeah.
He was already a pro.
Damn.
So, like, Nico's been around the game, man. Nico's been around the game. He's our OG in the gym, you know, as far as like our current, you know, roster
never
goes.
think that. I didn't
He's
know that.
Him and Austin both, man. They were both part of OGPE, man. And we look at them, you know, they're our guys.
But I gotta ask you this though. Let's just say before a fight, like, you know, you're training, the fight getting closer and closer, and then you know your opponent, you kind of do a little bit of homework on him or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have to build some sort of hate in your heart for him
No.
to make it real, or you just be like, nah, I'm fighting my friend? Because I feel like for me,
Definitely not my friend.
That's an outsider
Yeah.
looking it in. I feel like I'd have to hate your guts as the fight getting closer and closer. Of course, I wouldn't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I gotta build some sort of scenario as if I just walked into my house and you kill my entire family and I gotta fight you next Friday type shit.
It's weird, man, because at the beginning of my career, I felt like I had to have that animosity because I'm an intense athlete. In football, I played the same way at football. Like, I would get up and I would scream in their face. Like, I'd let them know
that's how I feel like
if I
it's
laid a
being
big hit,
beat
I'd
up.
let them know. So, man, with fighting, I thought that's how when I had my first loss, I think it was because I tried to hate him so much. I tried to not like this guy. I tried to tell myself, nah, he's an enemy. He's not. But, man, like, as I've learned, you know, I've learned a lot in 11 fights, man. And the biggest thing that I've learned is, like, it's going to take care of itself. You know, once you don't have to worry about pre-fight. You don't have to worry about how you wake up. If you wake up feeling good, if you wake up, the only thing that matters is 15, 20, 25 minutes in the cage. The day before don't matter. The day of don't matter. The morning of don't matter. It's all about how you feel in that 25 minutes. So, no, yeah, I don't have, like I told you with Elliot, man, I had done multiple interviews, you know, on Fight Week, and I expressed that, no, like, this guy is a good guy. You know, the biggest thing I can respect about somebody, you know, the most important thing about myself, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but the most important thing I hold myself, the highest standard I hold for myself is being a good dad. Like, that's the most important, and being a good husband. I would rather be that than a good fighter any day of the week. And when I see someone else being a good dad, like, because Elliot, you know, he's got a daughter around the same age as mine. When I see that, dude, you're winning. It don't matter if you lose in the cage or not. I already like you, man. You know, you're giving. There's a lot of kids out there that don't grow up with parents. You know, there's a lot of kids out there that go through shit that kids shouldn't go through. Kids are innocent, man.
Yeah.
They shouldn't go through the shit that, you know, some parents put their kids through. But when I see someone doing it the right way, you know, when I can say that kid is lucky, you're a good dude. You're a good woman. You know what I mean? And no, I had nothing but respect for Elliot. He beat me, you know, in front of my hometown, in front of my family, and I still will preach to the world. If I was to lose to anybody, I'm happy it was that guy, because that's a good guy. He's a good fighter.
That's respectable. I can
And most respect for him, man. We had a long conversation, like, the day after the fight. I called him. He was already back at work. I called him. I was like, "What's up, bro?" And we had an hour-long conversation, just like, he told me how much he respected me. I told him how much I respected him. I told him I'm going to run that shit back and I'm going to get that belt. And he said, you know what, man? You gave me a chance when I was 2-1 in my last 3. I didn't deserve a title fight. You gave me that, so whatever you want to do is what he said. You want to fight, get one more fight, and, get in the rhythm again, and let's run it back. So that's the plan, man.
That's respectable. The fact that they can acknowledge that, hey, you give me a shot, I'm going to give it right back to you.
Right.
Because, some people, once they get the W, they start talking trash, stop shit, they start feeling themselves. But for the fact that he was respectable. But have you ever actually had a fight to where, you and your opponent had to go back and forth, fuck you type shit?
So, yeah, this is on YouTube too, man. This is not my proudest moment. 2 fights ago, I main evented West Cal in Sulphur against Benton Mitchell. And I knew this guy was cheating. I know he didn't his coach was ahead of the weigh-ins. His head coach was. So he was running the weigh-ins for the entire team, for the entire promotion. Yeah. So, I'm depleted. I'm at 155 pounds, and I'm 180 right now. I cut 25 pounds when I fight. So I'm skinny, I'm depleted, I'm dehydrated. He shows up way bigger than me. And they said he stepped on the scale and he was at the right weight. Well, that already threw me off. We already had words on social media, but that pissed me off. Don't cheat, man. This is fighting, man. You know what I mean? We get in the sport for the honor of it. So yeah, we had face-offs that night. I got in his face. I let him know how I felt. I headbutted him a little bit and I pushed him. And the next night, he was doing kisses at my wife. He was he would walk by her and kiss at her. And I was like, and she told me, and I was like, bro, keep it together. Don't get mad. Because emotion, you fight with emotion, you're worse. So I let him fight with the emotion. I let him come to me. He chased himself into trouble. I knocked him out in 2 minutes. And I took my mouthpiece and I threw it at him. Hard as I could, man. Not my proudest moment.
Hey, man, I mean, I get it. I get it.
It was the heat of the moment.
Yeah, because he did
I did
some
more
disrespectful.
Too. You're gonna have to go look at it. I did a lot more than just stuff. I acted like I was knocked out. I did a lot of stuff, bro.
But he did some disrespectful stuff though. So
I called him back too because being a dad, I don't want to be disliked by anybody. I feel like that gives my baby a head start of being disliked. I want I'm not saying I need everybody to like me, but I just want everybody to respect me.
Yeah.
And so I did give Benton Mitchell a call after, same thing about a day after. And I said, hey man, we did what we had to do. No animosity. He still wanted a rematch. And I was like, nah, you can go somewhere with that. We're not running it back. You had your chance, you had 2 minutes to put it down. But I told him, it's respect. You got in the cage. I wish things would have happened differently this weekend, that weekend as far as the way we handled the face-off, the way I handled the mouthpiece throw, and the way I handled after the fight. But I told him, respect. I wish him nothing but the best. And we ended on that. We follow each other on social media now, so I'm happy that I was able to get that off my chest. But yeah, I've definitely had some fights. Like I said, my first loss as an amateur, the guy was 5-0 and I was 2-0. And I wanted to hate him so bad that I kind of psyched myself into hating him. And it made me fight with emotion. And I remember it was not necessary, And I've grown a lot since then.
So, but right now, where you at right now, do you feel like you still, if you get to the UFC, will you still, when you see the opponent, would you talk trash?
No.
Because it seems like that's what they do that to sell fights for pay-per-view and all that type of stuff. Because most fighters, it's if you don't bring that Conor McGregor energy,
right?
It's kind of people don't back you up. Do you feel like maybe whenever you get to that level, you might have to do that?
I want to do it the way Max did it. You see how Max is doing it. Max is not calling people's family out. Max is just I'm about these, and if you don't think I am, then we can talk. But this is what I'm about. So I want to be. Once I make it to the UFC, I definitely want to be one of those outliers that everybody knows, and I want to market myself as one of the biggest fighters. I want to be the Sean O'Malley. I want to be that. But I think the way I want to do it is a little different. I want to do it with just straight intensity. I want to do it with an aura. I don't want to do it with having to go at people's families. I don't want to do it with having to call people names or take belts or throw stuff. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it with having an aura. I want to be able to stand in front of everybody I stand in front of. They know what's about to happen. I want to be entertaining. And I just want to let my hands speak for myself, because I want everybody to look at my little girl's dad as a good man, at the end of the day.
So let's say that just goes to my head. When you're at home, you come out the shower, you on the mirror, do you ever think doing something
I'm the baddest dude on earth?
You ever do something?
Y'all don't? Y'all don't, bro?
I do, man. I'm just an amateur. I'm talking about like a real fighter. Like you like,
especially after a haircut. No, I'm joking. But no, bro, like. I feel like that ain't even fighter. That's just a dude thing. Like, you know, like, gosh, I'm like, dang, bro, I'm in camp. Like, I'm looking good, bro. Like, the tats are tatting. Like, I look good right now, bro. Yeah, absolutely. I have moments like that, man. I visualize a lot. Like my wife will tell you every night. I don't sleep well. I battle with like sleep insomnia pretty bad. So I don't go to sleep till about 2 or 3 a.m. That's a good night for rest for me. I wake up around 7. You know, but I go on walks every night around 10, 11. Once my wife gets the kids down, I go on a walk and I visualize, you know, everybody's in their house. I'm sure there's been a lot of neighbors that are like, what the fuck is he doing? But I just put on music in my ear and I walk around my block at midnight, you know, 10, 11, midnight. And I visualize the feeling of the win. I visualize the feeling of the loss. I visualize the walk to the cage, the fight. I visualize it all. I've been doing that since I played football. I visualize the game. I visualize, like visualize. I don't even say the word right now. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But that is part of visualization. That's how you get there without getting there. You know, I'm about to be in this main event for a professional title. I've never been there. I don't know what to expect. So let me try to visualize it as much as I can. Let me try to get my heart rate going. That's what I'll do. I'll get my heart rate going. Oh, I'm nervous, but I'm only outside walking in the dark, you know? I do that every night.
You see, I didn't think people do that. I do that. So like me, like that's the only way I go to sleep. I have to like, tomorrow you give me $100 million, I know exactly what to do with it because before I go to sleep, I already visualize it. So if I got it, this is what I'm gonna do. And that's the only way I can go to sleep. I can go to sleep no other way.
Got to. You gotta see it happen.
Because I'm just thinking about it. I just like that before I get to this level, I already picture, even though when I'm back in Haiti, I even say, man, when I go to the United States, I didn't even know how the fuck I'm gonna get there. But I was visualizing every day. So I thought I was just the only one doing this shit.
Man, I think that's gotta be a skill. I've always wondered, like, now that I know that you do it too, like that's got to be, I've always wondered if it was something that I have that someone doesn't, or like, because it seems to be such a cheat code. It does. It seems to be such a up in life, like being able to do that with, like you said, like I'll have, you know, if I have like this podcast, man, like I was nervous to come on this podcast with you guys. You know, you guys are doing big things. You know, I'm surrounded by successful people. You know, this is nerve wracking. So like being able to visualize that moment and just be like, okay, like just be yourself, you know, whether it's in the cage or if I have an interview tomorrow or if I have this, that, I have to speak behind a camera. The press conference on last Friday, like I got to be able to visualize that stuff, to see it happen in my head. And that's why I was questioning myself, like, is that a skill? Because I feel like if I sit there long enough and I get my heart racing, I can actually feel like I'm there.
It's a skill because the more you do something and you do it so many times, it becomes a skill because you can do it like, because I can go to sleep. If I want to go to sleep right now, I just start visualizing, I close my eyes, I'm out.
Really?
I'm gone, yes.
Wow.
Because I do it so much.
I got to ask you this though. You fought, like all your fights, have they happened like within town, within Salford, Lake Charles, or have you ever fight away from home?
So in my 11 fights, I fought 3 times at the Burton, once at the Civic Center, and once at West Cal. So 5 of my 11 fights have been in Lake Charles.
So which one had more pressure on you? The one at home or the one away from home?
This one I just had. That's the most pressure I've ever experienced.
But I'm talking about like comparing to fighting at home and fighting away from home. Do you feel some sort of relief when you fight away from home?
Yeah. I love fighting at home because I like everybody being able to make it, you know, but no, it definitely is harder. Fighting away is just, it feels like I'm not supposed to win. You know, it feels like, I even like going to fight. Like I have fought multiple people in their hometown. I like doing that because I feel like the odds are stacked against me. Like I'm here to fuck everybody's night up. Like everybody in this building is like, the same thing Elliot did that night.
Yeah.
That's what I go there to do. And, so yeah, there's definitely way less pressure fighting away. And I told, you know, AKA, I said, you know, if y'all want to give me the fight, like I want to fight away from home this next fight. Like I want to fight Elliot back home again when we run it back. If he wants to, it's his call, but I think he will. But this next fight, you know, this settle-in fight, just give it to me like North Louisiana. Give it to me somewhere where I have to travel, where I won't have such a big fan base travel with me. Just kind of like my immediate family, my friends, and everybody who really, you know, the diehards are going to make it. And with that, it just feels like there's less pressure on me, less eyes on me. You know, there's more eyes on the other fighters that are here. And that lets me settle in a little bit more as far as just like, all I got to do is fight. You know, I don't have to put on this front for my hometown. I don't have to, which I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying, like,
but it's more, we feel like all those people are here because of you. Everybody,
right.
Most of the people that purchased those tickets came to see you fight.
Right.
And then the pressure of not letting them down add to the pressure you already got in your plate.
Yeah, man. And I think, you know, earlier I said that, you know, the fighting yourself, your name is the brand, you're the business. So that doesn't like stop. Well, you don't like put that down when you're fighting. Like what I mean by that is just because I'm about to walk out and fight doesn't mean I got to stop caring about my image and just like forget about it and be boring and be emotionless. I got to show emotion. I got to let people still relate to me in this. So I technically still not putting on a front by any means, but I have to still show who I am through all that. That's hard.
I keep stomping your feet. That shit, I like it, man.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Oh,
I
man,
genuinely
hey,
do,
that's
man.
just me, bro. That's
I
just
love
me.
it, dude. When you did that shit, I would have bet the house on you. I mean, I'll be homeless by now, but
Hey, bro. If I keep having performances like that, I'll be homeless right with you, bro. But no, I would still tell you about bet the house. You know, when we fight again, bet the house. That's just the confidence, you know, you got to have. But yeah, man, I feel like I got to display who I'm trying to be at all times. You know, I'm trying to be looked at as a great fighter, a great man, a great dad, a great husband. A great friend. I'm trying to be looked at as, I'm not trying to overdo it and be someone I'm not, but I truly believe like every single day I'm learning to get better at these things, you know, and that's the greatest journey in itself, you know, like, yeah, this fighting is cool and I'm getting better as a fighter, but like fighting is teaching me a hell of a lot more about life than anything else ever has, you know, as far as how to handle situations, how to handle high pressure situations with whether it be, you know, like, you know, fighting isn't you don't start off and make good money, you know? So like there was the early part of my career, I was still like struggling to pay bills and, you know, those high pressure situations on top of having to get punched in my face was something that, you know, fighting taught me to deal with, you know, just hang in there, be resilient. Hard times never last, but hard people do. You know what I mean?
we ask those people those questions we gotta ask people. We usually ask them what would they tell to their 15-year-old self, but with you, I feel like it's gonna be different. What would Hunter the fighter have to say to Hunter the electrician?
What would Hunter the fighter have to say, Hunter the electrician? You're bigger than that. Like, because at the time I felt like I could have been, but I didn't know for sure. But if I could go back in time and look at a 240-pound me in the face and say, what I would say was, dude, you're bigger than this. Like,
you're such in shape right now. It's kind of hard to picture your 240.
You have to remind me. I got to show you all the picture after this. Remind me. I have
it's kind of
to.
hard to, because you like such in great shape. It's kind of hard to picture your 240.
When people see it, they're like, they look at me and they look at the picture and they look at me and I'm like,
what were you doing back then? Drinking, eating anything?
Yeah, man. I was like, I'm a big eater, like a huge eater. Like I still got to suppress what I eat. But like, yeah, dude, I was just not giving a shit. Like sports had ended for me. I wasn't really doing active things. I've always been big into video games. So what I was doing is I was working and I was coming home and playing video games. And like the laziest way of life, I was lazy. I did not like who I was. I look back on that person. I do not like who I was, man. That's my biggest enemy, you know?
I got to ask you this question because when I went the day before the fight, they said, man, you know, Austin said he had to lose the 5 pounds. They said, man, Hunter got to lose 10 pounds. To me, 2 days before the fight, I'm like, man, that's a lot of weight to drop in 10. Right? So how that goes? Like that when you know you gotta drop that amount of pound and
so this is not the most I've dropped in the shortest amount, but this was the hardest for some reason. My body just held on to water. I was 167 the night before I had to make 155. So I dropped 12 pounds overnight. The most I've ever dropped was Wednesday. So I weigh in Friday mornings. Wednesday going to bed when I fought for my amateur title. The Wednesday when I went to bed, I was 176 pounds. So I lost 21 pounds in, I think, 30 hours.
How's that process go? What you got to do?
Man, so this time right here, to lose these 12 pounds, it took me 9 sauna sessions, 9 25-minute sessions. And
you don't drink no water, though, right? No water at all. So
the Thursday at noon, I cut out water. I cut out water and intake in food. My last meal, nothing. I'd say I stopped. My last meal was seasonless eggs, 4 of them, with I drank a gallon of water before noon. After noon on Thursday, nothing goes in my body until I make weight.
And that's the way it was.
24 hours. Wow. 12 the next day.
Hey, that's dedication right there. But people think this is take a lot, bro.
Every grown man needs to go through a weight cut. And we've been saying this in the gym for a long time, even if you don't fight, because you learn a lot about yourself, bro. Like,
shit, you make
and it makes you mentally tough. Like, even if you're not, like, like I've known guys that aren't mentally tough that have done it, and they're like they just pushing past that it gave them the mental fortitude to deal with a lot of things. Like, dude, that you're dying in the sauna. You know, like 4 or 5 sessions in, when you're drawn out and your eyes are sunken in.
So how many the sessions? How long the sessions are?
25 minutes. Yep, at 140 degrees is what I was doing.
Like I've heard most fighters say, like it's like every second you want to say fuck this, and the night before that, it doesn't matter how much melatonin you take, you're not sleeping.
I just took 4. Like I usually take 2 if I need to go to bed. Like I took 4 after I was done cutting weight Thursday night to go home and sleep. I took 4 and I still didn't go to sleep. I stayed up till 2 a.m. just like. And my mouth was dry. You know, my wife and my kid was sleeping good. But it was fine. I just went laid on the couch and was watching TV like, this is miserable. Like, I do this just to get hit. like, you know what I mean? It all comes back to that.
Like,
really.
it doesn't tempt you, man. Like, 1 cup of water ain't going to hurt. Stop shit.
So I like to do ice cubes. I'll put an ice cube in my mouth and just, like, let it, and I'll spit until it's gone. You know, I don't swallow any of the water, you know, because any little thing, you know, you put on. I made weight by 0.1 pounds.
Wow.
So
that is crazy, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy. What's your favorite restaurant in town?
Oh man. Dang. Like local?
Yeah, local.
Daryl's.
Daryl, but you know what? Daryl's is down now.
Nah.
When back in the days, Daryl's.
Daryl's used to be better when they had the old recipe, for sure.
Because the first time somebody told me about Daryl's, bro, I went to Daryl's and I eat it. You couldn't. Every time I go to Daryl's, if I'm in Daryl's, you can talk to me.
Right.
I don't want to hear what you got to say.
Right.
Let me enjoy this. But now it's a hit and miss. You can go, he's good today. The next day you go. But back in the days, they used to have it all the time.
Right. They changed owners, I think, or they changed, you know, and they changed.
The guy died or something.
Yeah, they ended up changing recipes, and that's it's still good. Don't get me wrong, but like. So Daryl's is gonna always be my go-to when people always come in town and ask, "Where should I go eat?" I'm like, "Daryl's, dude, you gotta go." But I'm a burger guy, big burger guy. Like I'm cheeseburgers. Like when I'm cutting weight, I'm thinking of cheeseburgers, bro. And Round Top in Westlake, it's called Round Top Burger House. That place to me, man. I lived in Westlake forever, and when I was like out of camp, dude, I'd go get a burger at night. Like I just,
they do have one in Lake Charles too, huh?
I don't know. They might have opened one. I hope if they have, then I need to know about it.
I think it's a national one, of course, Market Basket. I think it was.
Cool. Yeah,
they pretty good too.
Yeah, man. I like Maplewood too. Like Maplewood.
I think maybe that's
Maplewood is what you're thinking of. Yeah, Round Top
in Westlake.
It's a little place. Oh
yeah, I don't.
You didn't like it, bro?
I don't think so.
Yeah, bro. Hey, man, I just have. I might have a shitty ass taste in food, man.
If you have to live in one city for the rest of your life, where would it be?
It used to be LA. I visited LA. I visited New York. It used to be Los Angeles just because the opportunity. It was just a big moment. It was just like, I'm not like a hunter. I'm not a fisherman. My name's like, you know, I'm not. My name's Hunter, but I'm not.
You're not one of them Louisiana boys.
Everybody right here, this is Sportsman Paradise. That's just not. That's never been me, man. I've always been more of a city boy. You know, like I like to dress nice. You know, I like to you know look good. So, you know, recently Dallas, man. Because
That's the second guest that said that.
Yeah.
I visited there, man, and I fell in love.
I spent 2 weeks there.
Right.
Like, it seemed like it's a clean city.
For a big city, you know, most cities you go to are almost always dirty.
I've never been to Dallas.
Dallas is so it's clean, and like the hospitality there, like I was super surprised. You know what it is so many people in Dallas. This is what I think I come to the conclusion when I left. There's so many people in Dallas, but everybody's living their own life that they don't really bother each other, you know, like when I was there, like I would get done training and I'd be in my training shorts, you know, and you know the training shorts I wear, they have the slit all the way down the side, so like you can see my underwear. I don't care. I go in a restaurant, order food. When I was in Dallas, it's like nobody's staring, nobody cares. They're there to get their food and go home and get ready for their next day. And I think that's a big reason why the city's so successful and so clean and everything. It's just like everybody's there to do their job. And, you know, everybody goes to Dallas, to do something bigger, and they all care. So when I was there, that was the biggest thing that I noticed was everybody was on their own time, which it's been like that. I've been to Nashville. Nashville is kind of the same thing. It's just too country vibe-ish for me, you know what I mean? But yeah, Dallas, man, and I already know so many people over there. We have family over there. So yeah, if I could live in one city for the rest of my life, it'd probably be Dallas, Texas.
Okay, I got a special question for you as a fighter.
Let's go.
There was a fighter you wanted to knock the hell out, like a fight, like you wanted to put this dude to sleep. Like, cause you don't like him that much.
Right.
Not like worldwide, everybody know. Like that fight in the UFC, who would that be?
So if I could knock any UFC fighter out,
Yeah, who would the one you would want to knock out the most?
Hamza. No, I'm joking.
Not my boy. Hey, man, you don't want that smoke, bro. Hey, man, this one is. I mean,
that guy, you feel like you could put them hands on him, like you would. Man, somebody who want to like step across from you, you want to put them to sleep in 15 seconds.
That's a good question, dude. I've never, no matter the weight class.
Don't matter weight class.
That's a good question because I've never thought about this.
John Jones.
No, I like Jones. I don't want that smoke, bro. I'm gonna leave the goat alone until I'm there. I don't know, man. Like maybe like I don't like Cheeto. Like something with something with Cheeto Vera, man. That dude, I know I seems like a pick. Look, that's a littler guy than me, so I'm not gonna fight down. So I'll go to someone bigger now. Dricus Duplessis, the middleweight champion now. He just beat Sean Strickland.
Oh, that guy.
Yes, I would fight him. I'd punch him in the face, I think.
What have you done? Like, what about him that makes you say I don't like that dude?
I don't know, man. I think it's because he won a title off a questionable decision against Sean Strickland, and he then immediately tried calling the shots on when Sean gets the rematch. He started calling the shots when I'm going to fight, when I'm going to do this. Like, brother, you just won your first title. Like, I understand it was a good performance, but, like, it was questionable. It's not like you dominated. It's not like you finished the fight. You know, it was a split decision, I believe. So the fact that, like, he won the title, and I don't want to seem like, you know, I'm calling him out or anything like that, but the fact that he won the title and immediately started trying to call the shots the way he wanted them, I think it aggravated a lot of people, you know what I mean?
It sure did. I think I know you're talking. I didn't see the fight. I watched the highlight of it, though.
He's a good fighter, you know. He's a champion, you know. To be a champion, you got to be one of the best in the world. So he's one of the best in the world, but just his attitude's kind of annoying.
What's your personal opinion of Sean O'Malley?
I like Sean, bro. I think Sean's cool. I think
Sean seems like a cool dude.
He's just like if I had to explain him, he's just a cool cat, man. He's a cool cat. Like he's always composed. Like you notice when he's talking shit, like he's always got something to say. Like you're never backing him in a corner. It's because he's always allowing his brain to flow.
Like he seems like he even take fighting seriously. Have you seen his Instagram post? The shit he posted, like
colored hair, man. Like. Yeah, bro. Hey, that dude's good though, man. He's amazing. He's fun to watch, man. I like Sean. I like Sean O'Malley. I think it's getting to be a trend to hate on him, but you know,
you hate him. That man don't do nothing.
I don't know, man. I guess for the same reason, maybe they don't like the way he's calling shots or anything like that. But I think he's just keeping the sport fun, man. You got to have fighters like that. The Conor McGregors, the Sean O'Malley's. You know, you got to be able to keep the sport fun. You know,
that I will kill everybody.
I kill everybody.
Well, the last question for me though, what's the ceiling for Hunter Smith?
Beating Islam Makhachev for the UFC title, if he's still there when I'm there. The ceiling for me, and I'm not just saying this because I have self-belief. I do. I've talked about it. But the ceiling for me in my heart of hearts is I think I'm not going to be denied because I can't let my daughter see me fail. I can't let I can't let my wife see me fail. I think my ceiling is there, man. Is the UFC champion, man. Like that's my goal. You know, my goal is not to make it to the UFC. That's a dream. My goal is not to win a UFC fight. My goal is to become champion. You know, I want to be looked at as the best ever. So to answer your question, what my ceiling is, you know, there's gonna be people that watch this and laugh, but like, y'all are the reason. That's why I feel the way I feel, man. I live to shut doubters up, man. That's what I do. I made a post a week before my last fight. I said I'm here to remind the people who forgot, and I think even though I lost, I still reminded people like
you had a great fight.
Yeah, like, and he didn't want to stand with me. You know, it was grapple for his life. So I'm every day. That's my mission, man. Is to remind the ones who forget.
So let's say if you like, my question would be for you right now: if you had there's a kid, a 15-year-old, 12 or 13, 14, and they're just watching you fight, and they would like to be the next hunter. They would like to be like you.
A fighter.
What would you tell them? Why not this age?
Be okay. Say everybody the same thing. Be okay with getting your ass whooped. Be okay with getting humbled in the gym because that's gonna make you better. Like you got to be able to realize that when you get beat up in the gym, when you get demoralized, when you get whooped like Nico whooped me, you got to take that shit and you got to get better off of it. And you got to put it behind you. You know, the same thing Kurt Hallball told me. You got to put the loss behind you. You got to put a bad training session behind you. You really got to join a gym. You know, I'll tell you, I can promise you one thing that's going to happen. If I was talking to a 12, 15-year-old boy, or girl even, you know, they want to fight, you're going to get your ass whooped. There's going to be a time. Everybody in the sport loses. Everybody. Everybody, whether that's in the gym, maybe you don't lose on fight night. Maybe you're John Jones. You're 1 of 1. You don't lose. You're going to lose in the gym. And John will tell you, he'll be the first one, to tell you, I've lost many battles in the gym. You cannot let that shit define you. You got to keep getting back up. And that's the story of life, man. That's why I think fighting and life go hand in hand, because life is a big fight.
Yep.
You're consistently fighting to get more notoriety. You're consistently fighting to get higher up in your trade, in your field. So, yeah, man, just be resilient. Be resilient.
And I think, like, as a fighter, I think it's the best way that can guide you through life, because you know adversity, you know what it takes, you know what you got to do, you cannot just be lazy, every second count. I think that's a good way as a fighter. It's just like any problem that comes to life, it's be easy for you to deal with it, because you understand you're not gonna let that shit like bring you down. You're not gonna have like being depressed. You don't have time for shit like this. 100%. Anxiety coming. You don't have time for shit like this. Yeah, nope. I'm depressed, but I still gotta go to the gym. Yes, I'm depressed. I still gotta fight. Yes, I'm depressed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The life gonna keep, because if you
the world don't stop.
Yeah, the world doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop for you. Anything stops. So you just have to keep. I think fighting, having that. I think anybody should at least like train hard.
Yeah.
Go to the gym, do all this thing, because that's gonna help you eventually.
100%.
Yes.
And I wanted to say something today. It was the most important thing. This has been on my mind so heavily, and it's really, upgraded my way of life. It really has. The other day, a couple months ago, me and my wife were talking, and we were talking about how fast life goes by. Life goes by fast. You can't slow shit down. You can't slow shit down. But what you can do? You can trick yourself to slow life down. When I was living in the routine, it seemed like life was like passing me by so fast. It still does. Like I said, you can't slow that shit down. But when you're living in that routine, and when you're living in such a, I hate my everyday life, or I hate, just being downtime, and you live eventful living is what I call it. You live for events. Okay, next weekend I'm doing this, and 2 weekends I'm doing that. When you live that way, you're wishing life away. I can't wait for 2 weeks to come so I can go to that show, or I can go to that concert, or I can go to my friend's house. I can't wait. You're wishing those 2 weeks away, essentially, because that's what you're looking forward to, right? So I've taken practice in enjoying downtime, like soaking in the moment. Like even when you're sitting here watching TV, or I'm sitting there with my daughter and she's watching her phone and I'm watching TV, or I'm just sitting there doing nothing, I'm bored. Absorb that moment, be bored, but think, be in the moment, live in the moment, like really maximize every moment you can in life. And that is how you make life slow down, theoretically. That's how you make the best of every moment. You got to just don't be an eventful liver.
Even the bad moments.
Make every moment eventful.
Even the bad moments. You absorb that, man. You live in the moment. You take that in, and you, like I say, you got to be present. The more present you are, the slower life gets, man. And it's crazy because life is fast no matter what. I'm not saying you're going to do this and like today's going to be 48 hours long, but I'm saying you're going to appreciate every hour of that day. And it's going to make every day mean a lot more. And every day that means a lot more, there's your events. But sometimes, what I used to say, I know it's crazy because people don't think about this. So let's say, for instance, you say, oh my God, I can't wait for next month. Oh, I can't wait for 6 months. Oh, I can't wait for Christmas. Think about what I'm about to say. I know it sounds crazy. We don't know when we're dying, right?
Right.
So therefore,
100%.
you are trying to get to your closing the day you dying so fast. You don't even know.
You're wishing life away.
You're wishing okay, let's say, for instance, you know you was going to die in December. Would you say, oh, I can't wait for December?
No.
You'd be like,
you try to slow it down like you
know,
said.
That's how I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But then the fact that you don't know, you're like, oh, I can't wait for Christmas.
And people are always complaining, man, life's passing me by. Life, you can't, oh my God, I'm watching this, my little baby grow up. Well, hey, guess what? Every moment you get with your little baby, make sure you're absorbing that moment and blessed to be in that moment. I don't care if you and your baby are watching TV on the couch. I don't care if you're, your baby's real young and she don't know how to talk yet and you're on the floor playing with a toy with her. Absorb it, man. Because if you make the most of that moment and you do that and you practice that every day and you're able to make the best of every moment, life does slow down a little bit.
Yeah, but as humans, sometimes I want to say that because, the fact that sometimes we get comfortable because you do this shit every day, the same routine. Like when you have a routine, I think it's the worst thing you can have because sometimes you forget how precious life is. You forget how
That's right.
The shit can be in an instant.
Right.
Sometimes we don't realize.
Gets dull.
Yeah, every time. So you just gotta like you never see so many times like somebody close to you or somebody young die. You're like, oh my God, everybody's saying, oh my God, life is precious. It's just like a reminder. But after a while, we forgot because we do the same shit
get back to our
every
routine.
day. You know,
It's literally like empty living. Like you're not appreciating you're just
Yes.
appreciating the things that you get to do, like your events and shit. And that's why I call it eventful living, because like everybody's got shit they're doing, you know, they look forward to. Almost everybody's got we got a concert to go to. You got this, that stuff's cool, but that stuff also becomes better when you appreciate the little things.
Yeah, because I mean, even though today, even right now, even after this podcast, even though like tomorrow, you need to enjoy every second, because
Every second.
I'm just saying the reason we don't is because we don't know when we're dying. If you know the day, your death date, you would never wish like, I can't wait for next
you
week.
appreciate every
I can't
second.
wait for
You
next
appreciate
month.
every second.
Every second will matter
That's
to
a
you.
great example right there.
You know what I'm saying?
I've never tried to put it like that.
People
but
never thought about it. Like I was like Sunday, I was like, man, I can't wait for next year.
if you found out you were dying in 2 weeks from today, I guarantee you these next 2 weeks would be the most.
The best 2 weeks of your life, probably.
Honestly, it probably would, and it would probably be definitely the most like meaningful. Like
Yes.
you would enjoy the little things, man.
Even though, think about it, even the good and the bad and that,
Everything.
because anxiety will kill you, depression will kill you.
That's being alive.
The happiness, people gonna come to you say, hey man, let's go have a good time. Everybody be around you. He'll be the best
I feel like
2
it'd be the
weeks
best 2
of
weeks of your
of
life,
your
because you
life.
already know you can't stop.
Because you get
So
all,
living in the moment.
You're gonna
Yeah,
have
so
all
like, fuck it,
emotions.
I'm just gonna enjoy every single damn second till that 2
Yes.
weeks, so that 2 months, or that 2 years come.
Right.
And then you're gonna enjoy you're gonna have every emotions
Right.
at once.
And that goes for people you love, your loved ones. You don't know when their expiration
Exactly.
date is, and being able to understand that, like, okay, I could outlive this person, and I'm one day maybe gonna have to go without them. Let's cherish every moment
man,
with
we
them.
speak magic right there, man. That's so
that is-
Man,
that's
it's
magic.
something that's been on my heart so much recently, and it really has, like, dude, like, this is not propaganda. This has literally like made my life better. Like, I've been a happier person. I've been a more mature person when I've stopped eventful living. I stopped saying I can't wait for the fight in 2 weeks. Can't wait till I fight. Nah, I'm enjoying this training camp.
I think happiness, even if you do with happiness, because everybody trying to be happy. But I think happiness is within. Like if you can fight your mind, if you can calm yourself, if you can, just like you said, not eventful, like every second, you can self-aware of what's going on. I think you'll be the happiest person. Bad emotions gonna come, the depression, the anxiety. You can't live without
You
those.
can't do without it.
There's gonna be there.
Yep.
But when they happen, it's just like enjoy it as just as a
That's
good
right.
moment.
That
I
is
always
right.
tell people that's the goal of life, happiness. Like you can hear people say they're seeking money, they're seeking a belt, they're seeking whatever it is they're seeking. Like as you said, first fight, 15-second knockout. That happiness, that high, that's what you seek. In that moment,
Right.
that moment meant more than $1 billion.
Yeah. It's almost like people let moments like that undermine the shit that matters.
Pretty much.
Family time. People let, I don't, but people let the feeling, let's just say, of a win, of a fight, or maybe a big check. Maybe you get paid, nice. People let that moment of like where it hit, when the check hits,
It's
that feeling of
momentarily.
excitement.
It don't last long.
They almost, it undermines the rest of your life because you're just waiting to feel that again. Like really like try to like take, just be happy in every moment.
But it's
man.
the skills though. You have to be like, it's not something you can wake up one day you do. You just have to just
Oh,
train
definitely.
yourself every day.
Definitely.
And that come with time. That come with being maturity. That come with like,
I wish someone would have told me this. I do, because I was definitely, like I told you, I was routinely eventful living, and I wish someone would have told me this at 18 years. If I could go back and tell myself anything, it'd be that. It'd be stop eventful living and just live in the moment. Just like appreciate the little shit, because the little shit happens more than the big shit does. You got to do a lot more with it. You know what I mean? And that little shit is who makes you.
Yeah.
That the downtime, that fight, that loss I had, that didn't make who I am. None of my wins are who I am. Who I am is the trials that I've gone through in the gym with my wife, the trials I've gone through with my wife, what we've gotten through together, having my baby. That's who I am. That is the character builder. It's not some fist fight. It's not some concert. It's not some ball game. It's not. It's the little shit, man. It is. It's the time spent, the quality time, man.
and sometimes we don't pay attention to
All time is quality time.
Yeah, we're looking for big shit sometimes, and we don't pay attention with the little things. But the little things is the one that create the big things sometimes.
That's right. That is so right. You know, you learn to enjoy life. Shit like of winning a fight becomes more spectacular. You know what I mean? Because you appreciate it more.
Yeah, you appreciate the training camp, the hell you went through when you had to like,
you appreciate
dehydrate yourself and the whole 9 yards, all those little things. They might seem like hell in the moment, but at the end they're gonna form a bigger picture, like you said.
Dude, 100%. 100% right.
Man, this episode was fire, man.
Yeah, it was, man. I really enjoyed talking to you. And,
hey, man, I appreciate y'all.
As much of a good guy Josh is, because Josh is a great guy, but Josh is this kind of guy, he's so chill.
Yeah.
But with you kind of bring the fire.
Yeah.
With Josh, you got the
still
fire,
with
but
the
you
nice.
don't bring it.
Yeah, man.
But it's still nice guy though. It's just like he got you got it. You got that aura. You got that personality.
Yeah, you walk with that confidence.
You
The
know,
stuff
you got
in your
that.
feet. The first time I met you within that weigh-in, I could feel the confidence within you. Like whenever you walked in that octagon and you stomped your feet, I'm like, okay, this dude got it. You bring the fire. I can just look at you and look like you seem dangerous.
Gotta be that way with life, man.
Yeah, losing is part of success.
life.
You know, it's part of success. You won't know what success is like until you fail, really, because you won't know the other. You have to know the other side, what it means like. Because like I always say, like my kids compared to me, like I'm from Haiti, shit was bad. I can tell them 1,000 times, they're never gonna get it compared to me. So therefore,
you went through it.
You have to went through it. So sometimes people they want to be successful. You want to be successful, but sometimes you have to have those hard times. Is what make the success worth more than just being like go up and have everything. I think everybody need to go like fighting shit like this.
Go to some shit like that, like you said. Unless you go to like what you call it, losing weight, draining yourself.
Yes.
Unless you go to that moment, I've never been to it myself. Don't get me wrong, but hearing people that went through it, it pushes your mind. It challenges you. From people that've done it, they say like every second they want to quit. Every second they just want to grab like the biggest bottle of water they can find and chug it. But then you got to push past that. Yeah.
Hey man, a W stands for a win and an L stands for a lesson.
Hey, I've never heard that one before. That's pretty fucking good.
That's what it is, man.
I've never heard that one. I've never heard somebody put it like that.
Yeah, man. Don't even think of the word loss, man. Because like a loss is something taken from you. What the hell was taken from me the other night? A belt that was never mine. You know what I mean? Like what was taken from me? Like what? I gained I gained notoriety. I gained people that related to me in ways that I haven't, like my fan base was able to relate to me in a way that they haven't been able to yet. They got to see me vulnerable.
Yes.
They got to really know me, how I deal with that moment. And to be honest, the fact that I was able to handle that well, that means more than handling a win well, because not everybody can win everything. You know, most people are going to take L's.
Yeah, that's life. Everybody walking into this earth done took some L's.
Yeah.
That's what life is all about.
It looked like you got Thomas Edison. He fell like what? 1,000 times?
Yep.
And then he quit. What you remember him from? Do you remember the 1,000 times he fell?
No.
Nobody remember that. We remember he created a light bulb. That's it.
That's it.
Sometimes you gotta keep going and keep pushing and get better. I think that's what a lot of people sometimes their life is miserable, whatever the case may be. It's because whatever that's making your life miserable, just step out of it. Just do something else. Change.
An L is a lesson.
Don't be eventful like you said. Don't be eventful.
Quite like that.
Don't be so eventful.
W for a win and L for a lesson. I've never.
That's that visualization, bro.
I've never heard somebody worded it that way. That's some genius shit right there.
You got anything you want to tell the people and anybody's watching?
I do actually. I want to thank everybody. If you're seeing this, you know that means you come out and you supported me more. The support that I've gotten in the last 2 to 3 years, man, is just like from what I came from, as far as like where I was in my life. Like that shit is so overwhelming, like so overwhelmingly great. You know, it's super humbling, and I legit mean this when I say I could not do it without each and every supporter that I have. I don't like to call anybody a fan. There's no fans in this sport. When someone texts me and they're like, "I'm a fan," I say, "No, you're a supporter." There's no fans. I don't want fans. I want supporters. And everybody who likes my post, everybody who comments on my post, who texts me good luck, who texts me how you feeling, those are supporters. Those aren't fans, you know? So I want to say thank you to everybody who supports me. And please keep doing it, because y'all are a big reason why this left hook is so vicious.
Ooh, I like that. Hey, man, ladies and gentlemen, Hunter freaking Smith.
Yeah,
thank you guys.
As per usual, like, share, and subscribe.
And thank you,
enjoyed
thank you
what we
guys.
got going on right here, just feel free to ask questions in the comments. We'll reach out and answer all of them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
And thank you everybody for watching. I mean, this is fire.
Hey, the Haitian King Podcast, man. If y'all weren't on before, y'all are on now. Y'all better tune in every episode. Turn those push notifications on. Make sure y'all checking out every latest episode because every episode is a banger. So I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming around the gym for real.
For sure. I'm gonna get there.
100%. Need you there, bro. Need you there, bro.
And y'all heard it from the man himself. Y'all don't follow, like, share, and subscribe. You're gonna knock y'all out. You heard me?
That's right. I got y'all.
All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
That was some great shit, man. Hey, dude, that was some great fire.
That was some shit.
Josh was cool. This is motherfucking fire, man. This is motherfucking fire, man.